Well, that was extremely quick. Carson Beck jumps into the transfer portal yesterday. Today, it comes out he is indeed headed to the betting favorite that was, of course, the Miami Hurricanes. What does it mean for Miami? How does Carson Beck fit? And also, maybe what does it mean for Carson Beck in general in terms of what it has to say about his future? We'll talk about all that right now. But first things first, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. You'll notice now we are not in our normal studio. Right now, Nashville is under a good bit of snow outside my window right here. But like Carson Beck commits, you got to make it work, man. You got to find a way. So myself and Caden Smith got after it, got this jerry-rig setup together to bring y'all some content on the greatest sport on the face of planet Earth. If you're a Miami Hurricane fan, you're dialed in today, so make sure you are subscribed. All right, let's get to it. Carson Beck going to Miami makes a ton of sense. Entered the transfer portal with a do not contact tag, which is transfer portal language for don't call me, I'll call you. Number one player in the portal, very quickly arrives at where he's going to be heading. And the reason why this makes sense is you look at the offense that Carson Beck is stepping into here. They're going to give him a chance to strut his stuff for the NFL, which, make no mistake now, that's what this is about. Like, him going to Miami is about him putting his best foot forward to get his draft stock back to where it was before the year started. Also, it's worth noting, not just 55% throwing the football where it's like some dink and dunk here, some screens, some quick game. That all, of course, exists in the confines of this offense, but they're going to push the ball downfield. All right, like they were top 5 last year in yards per pass in all of college football. So Carson Beck got a rifle for a right arm. He's going to be allowed to show that off and make that thing hum a little bit with the tattooed arm of his. So with that being said, you talk about maybe what this means for Miami. And I think there's maybe a bit of a mixed opinion on Carson Beck when it comes to the college football public, because he had this phenomenal season a year ago. And then this past season, it was, a lot to be desired, to say the least. There's turnover problems. He had 12 picks, and Georgia falls short of their ultimate goal of winning a national championship, and Carson Beck gets hurt in the SEC championship game. Like, there's a lot there, right? But what I want to make sure we remember is what this guy was when he had weapons. Like this past season, not to dunk on the receiver room at Georgia, but like it led the country in drops, okay? That's going to impact your stat line. That's probably going to, I would have to believe, impact your rhythm as an offense. And Carson Beck, I think, going into this year, based on what everyone is saying in the college football circles, is like, guy felt a lot of pressure to live up to being the Heisman betting favorite that he was going into the year, to live up to the preseason consensus number 1 overall pick in what was going to be this year's draft. And so when you have that much pressure, and then also you lose a Brock Bowers and a Ladd McConkey, it's not a great recipe for success. So I think when we go back to what 2023 was for him, dude was all SEC. The SEC is the NFL junior, essentially, right? Like, that's not me having SEC bias. Just look at what the draft picks say and the guys that come out of that conference. Like, to be all conference in the SEC, your first year starting, complete 72% of your passes, be absolutely surgical. Like, to me, that's who I think Carson Beck is a lot closer to when we talk about his future in Coral Gables. And I love the fact that he's going to have a chance just to kind of hit the reset button, get a fresh start. He's from the state of Florida, 5-hour drive from Jacksonville, where he's from, down to Coral Gables. And, I know everyone's in the social media circle saying this. Yeah, his girlfriend goes there. Probably not a bad deal for him overall either. And then the other part of this for Miami, like, Pete Nakos of On3 went on the Paul Feinbaum show after this news broke, because Pete Nakos broke the news that Carson Beck's heading to the portal. And he said that Carson Beck will command, he would imagine, a NIL deal north of $2.5 million. There's also a ton of more content from Pete Nakos over at on3.com around the Carson Beck commitment and around Carson Beck's decision to jump in the portal to begin with. So go lock in over there. But it's no secret, man. Miami is down to play ball in the NIL world. They are. And they're being rewarded for it right now by landing a proven commodity at quarterback. Because I think as much as Carson Beck maybe needs Miami to plan a wide open offense and to help his draft stock and kind of reinvent his image and answer any health questions that folks could have for him when it comes to the NFL draft this time next year. Like right now, if you were to stay declared to the NFL, he would have to talk about, yeah, well, my UCL is this, it's that, surgery went this way, and then it's all just a conversation. He gets to go to Miami right now and prove to everybody that's watching him, like, no, the NFL, I'm ready to roll. Like this elbow's fine. Go turn on the tape. Men lie, women lie, the tape don't lie. So, but for Miami, as I was saying, when you look at the position they're in, They had a really exciting year last year with Cam Ward, fell short of their ultimate goal of winning the ACC and making the playoff. But 10 wins, nothing to scoff at. In a lot of situations, the special nature of Cam Ward is why Miami was able to win specific football games. Not saying they didn't have great skill players, not saying the offense wasn't called at an elite level by Shannon Dawson, but there was a lot of holes in that Miami team a year ago. And so when you talk about what Cam Ward was for them, if you take him out of that equation a year ago, what's Miami's record? 7 wins? Maybe 6 wins if we're going to be super harsh. The bottom line here is Miami is a quarterback-driven team with a quarterback-driven offense. And if you were to just tell me that Miami has average quarterback play next year, I think you feel like you're taking a step backwards and a bit of a reset with what you have currently in-house in Coral Gables. Now, I would expect Miami to put the pedal to the metal and add more talent around Carson Beck. I fully believe that, but if I'm a Miami fan, or if I'm in that staff in Coral Gables, I just feel so much more confident that I have a proven commodity. However you feel about Carson Beck, you look at the 2023 season, and I think that should speak for itself with what he did. You know that you have a guy who has played at the highest level of college football, and just even the potential of what he could be in your system should get you excited. This is not an Emory Williams dunk take. This is just me telling you right now that Carson Beck is a lot closer to, I think, what you get excited about for Miami, and there's a lot more mystery involved if you were to roll with an Emory Williams. So when it comes to what Miami could be here in 2024, or 2025, excuse me, the obvious part here is you got to fix the defense. So if the defense doesn't get fixed, it may just be a rerun in some sorts of last year. That's kind of the way that I feel about it. But I think when you look at the macro level of this, of what it could mean for Miami, Miami and the state of Florida in general is kind of an interesting spot right now, because Florida State, coming off of the undefeated season, you're like, okay, if they're the team in the state, Miami is kind of trending upwards, it would feel like. Florida, we'll see what they are. But then you fast forward a season, Florida State is nowhere near the team in the state. Miami, even though they beat the brakes off of Florida, the DJ Lagway version of Florida gets a lot of folks excited in Gainesville, and they should, and they're trending in a positive direction. If Miami were to, again, go with average quarterback play next year, I think you leave yourself exposed to potentially get passed by a Florida, for them to be the new team in the state. And to be the team in the state, what I mean by that, to be the big dog, if you will, between Miami, Florida State, and Florida, you hold a key to, winning national championships, just to put it, just to be blunt about it, because there's so much talent within that state. If you can make a pitch to some of these top kids to keep them home and say, hey, you can stay in the state, you can win at the highest level, why would you not do that? That's going to, I think, flywheel into some really exciting things for whoever that is. So for Miami now, to not have to hit the total reset button on the 10-win season, to have a more than capable quarterback physically in Carson Beck once he gets back right, that is massive, because the throne is very attainable right now in the state of Florida. And if you can, again, grab that throne, there's a lot you could accomplish if you can turn that into some recruiting magic. So this is big for Carson Beck because of his NFL draft prospects and because of what it could mean for him in terms of kind of rejuvenating his career and the momentum he had going into the season. And I think it's equally as big for Miami in landing a Carson Beck to not have to hit the reset button on all the progress they had a season ago. So I can't wait to watch what happens here. Carson Beck, it sounds like, will not be ready to roll for spring practice. Even with that being said, you have to imagine you brought him to Miami to be the starter. I don't think that's anything we need to have a discussion about. I can't wait to watch it. Mario Cristobal doing Mario Cristobal things, going to work in the portal, acquiring top talent, and the window is still very open for Miami to make a run at the ACC yet again, make a run at the college football playoff yet again, get through the threshold on both of those situations this season, and maybe we're looking at a different you here in the next couple of seasons because of this kind of move with Carson Beck providing and keeping that momentum. Again, appreciate y'all being dialed in, man. A little snow day action in Nashville doesn't stop us. We will have more content coming for you right here on the On3 YouTube channel, whether it be us in this setup here for the rest of this whole snow situation, or whether we get back in the studio here hopefully sooner rather than later. But we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. For Caden Smith on the ones and twos here, not being seen on the one, making all this happen here. For myself, JD PicKell, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.